In other words, ability equals skill, and willingness is the spirit. So if you want to succeed something, you've got to be able and willing. Because as long as you are unable, for whatever reason you're unable, either you don't know how to do it, or it's not the right time, or you don't have access to whatever. If you're unable, you're not going to succeed at it. But if you're stubborn, also it's not going to happen. You've got to be willing. Number 2, I will succeed when I am positive, exploring all the options available to me, rather than reactive and getting nowhere. Reactive and getting nowhere. So if I'm proactive, I'm positive, exploring all the options available to me, rather than negative, opposing any opportunities presented to others around me. So you'll be sitting down in a meeting, you're talking to somebody, you're at home, you're at school, wherever you are. You will succeed when you are positive and exploring. Okay, can we do this? Can we do this? Like earlier on, because I've been interested in where you guys gone as a church. What I love about it, anytime I get involved with somebody, I don't want to just be on a superficial level. I'd like to be involved and engaged, and so we can pray for you, so we can see things. And I know that you guys are looking for a building and all that. And I'm saying, how are you going with that? Oh, well, we can't find this. Have you thought about these other things? So explore them, explore them. Number 3, I will succeed when I am proactive in going forward rather than reactive and getting nowhere. Now, the reactive DNA, as far as I'm concerned, is when a person is defensive, is negative, and is argumentative. You're not going to go anywhere if you have that. But if you are proactive, you want to go forward, that means you take initiative. That means you're not waiting for somebody to tell you what to do. That's what being proactive is about. Number 4, I will succeed when I am productive, getting things done, rather than busy doing things and getting nothing done. There's a big difference between productive and busy. From a distance, they look similar because they both are involved in motion, in effort. They're both. There's movement, there's activity. However, as you get close, you'll notice something. You'll notice the busy person is frustrated, is stressed, is unhappy. Why? The busy person is actually doing a lot of things but getting nothing done. But the productive person is actually getting things done while the busy is doing things. Big difference between the two. Learn how to be productive. One of the ways you are productive is when you get older. People always are afraid of age. I love my age. I love my life, love my age. I do things today within a week that used to take me a year to get done in the past. The context I have, the ability, the experience, the assessment. I can sit at home with my feet up with my phone, and I contact hundreds of people, and often I get a result almost within the hour. I did not do that before then, because being productive. So learn to do that. Number 5, I will succeed when I'm doing is for the betterment of all rather than the detriment of any. Make sure whatever you do is for everybody. Everybody benefits from. And if there's one person that you know consciously is going to be negatively impacted by it, don't do it. Number 5, I will succeed when I connect and contribute rather than control and be contentious. Don't you hate it when you're around somebody and they won't let you have a word? They got to control everything, and anything that you say, they are offended easily, and they're contentious. If it's not this issue, it's the other issue. No, they're not going to succeed. The people who succeed who connect and contribute. It is better to give, than to receive. That's not to say we don't receive, but giving is the issue here. Number 7, I will succeed when I function according to my design rather than being dysfunctional failure. Just because we are moving, just because we're doing things, it doesn't mean we are getting things done. The key is to function. And we function better when we function according to our design. What's interesting with this remote control is different than the remote control that we have. This one, Brother Marcus was explaining to me, that it's got additional things to it. I can predetermine the length of the slide on it. So instead of me having to do it, it can do it after 3 seconds or 4 seconds or 5 seconds. And so, but yet if I was to try it on my one that I have, it doesn't have that feature. So I'm going to fail. And a lot of time people compare each other with each other, and they do certain things and they fail because they don't have that. And that's okay if you don't have something, because you have something else. Somebody has that. So make sure you function according to that. The phone doesn't do the dishes for you. The dishwasher does the dishes. A lot of time we expect people to do something and they don't function because they are not doing it according to the design. Find the way God designed you. And as I mentioned earlier, there's 2 simple ways that you do. You look at your earlier life around the age of 5 to 8, 5 to 9. The things that you did really well and people applauded you for. The things that you love doing. I remember very clearly from a very young age, I had an entrepreneurial spirit. My mom used to work, and my dad was in the mountain. And so I was pretty well on my own. So I pretty well raised myself in that sense. And so I had to do the shopping. And so I loved it. I love negotiating with people. Today, anybody who wants to buy a car or something else, with the kids want to buy a house, whatever level, I go with them and I negotiate well because it's in my system. I function well. I remember when I was a kid, I learned to play the piano with single notes back in Tripoli in Lebanon. When I don't know how old I was. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 or 6, very, very young. And there was the YMCA things, and they had table tennis and learned play tables. They had volleyball and basketball. But the one that interested me most was the piano. And we used to write on the keys. In English, we use A, B, C, D, E, F, G as chords, as notes. But in Lebanon, we use the kind of the Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si. And then we used to write it on that and then create melody. And so it was always a corner. So discover those things. That was when I was very young. I do a lot of it today, what I did then. And until you discover that and you develop it, you're not going to be successful. And so God already invested in you. So discover your natural talents at your first birth. And then add your spiritual giftedness. And go to Romans and read up your spiritual giftedness. Whether it is leadership, whether it is mercy, whether it is giving, whether it is teaching, whether it is encouraging, whatever. Find it, marry the 2 together, and begin with this and see how God opened door after door after door for you. And now you are functioning. You are just not existing. Many people, all they do is they exist. No wonder they're not happy. Number 8, I will succeed when I am a user-friendly person rather than a user of friends. Earlier on, our brother shared with us how some people are intentionally manipulative. They're not user-friendly. They want to use friends. And then we get it all the time. In fact, one of the other books I have in the other box I left in the car, it talks about how to identify freeloaders. The people who come and who they are and what a freeloader is. Because you have people who just don't want to contribute. They don't want to carry their own thing. So identify that, but start with yourself. Number 9, I will succeed when I focus on the us and the what is rather than on me and the what if. In relationship, it's not about me. Faith and I, we often say that to each other. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's about us. And we want to live in the what is. We don't want to live in the what if. Number 10, I will succeed when I function at an interdependent level rather than a codependent one. We see that in children. First of all, they are dependent on us. They can't feed themselves. They can't wake themselves up. We do everything for them. We got a time. And then we see how they're growing because they become now independent. Now they wake themselves up. They do their own breakfast. They have their own shower. They brush their own teeth. And so much, sometimes they even, catch the bus or transport or walk to school. And then they become interdependent, where they get their car license and they help us with these things, because that's the healthy maturity growth. But there's also codependent when a person kind of is paralyzed, basically, and they can't move unless somebody else gives them permission. So be interdependent. That means we need each other. We depend on each other. We appreciate each other, where we are walking together with each other, rather than you dependent on me or I'm dependent on you. And 11, I will succeed when I focus my effort, energy, and emotion on doing my best rather than being my best and being the best. A lot of time people want to be the best. Was I the best today? Who cares? But you need to do your best. Sometimes your best, your 10 may be 5. Somebody else's 10 may be 8. Somebody else's 10 may be 10. Find out what your best is and keep doing your best. And number 12, finally, I will succeed when my aim has more to do with serving the people rather than selling a product. A lot of time people, they want to sell something rather than serve. Now, I'm not suggesting that you don't sell something. Of course you do. We're always buying it. Everything we have, somebody sold it to us. Literally everything is here. But you'll find the people that we enjoyed the most, they came to serve our interests. Like, for example, I'll give you an idea with the books. In my mind, I says, okay, what subject am I going to talk to? I've spent 4 hours yesterday to find the right books. 4 hours. You know how many books I've got in my bookstore? I've got literally thousands. I says, no. I think we better get the temperament. I want people to pick up the temperament. I think the other one would be great. One of them, I had to go and get the box from a bed I haven't used for a while. I'm doing this. Why? Because it's about serving the need. It's not about selling a product. And what happened when you do that? You do both. So this is something I want to leave with you, and I'd like you to kind of think that through and then check it out.